my tripod here, trying to adjust it a little bit on a Monday. There we go. I think we got it there. Welcome back to the program. It's good to see you all once again. How's everybody doing out there? Hope you're having a very good Monday, wherever you find yourself around the planet today. And I'm here in Central Pennsylvania yet again as progress continues on the election campaign. But some sad news in South Africa, where massive fires broke out in the Western Cape and Parle and Stellenbosch. Other locations being whipped up by gale force winds. An orange level 9 alert issued for the Western Cape. This horrific weather has continued in other parts of South Africa, with Tshwane in Gauteng also dealing with some bad weather. But events yesterday, I did receive some video of it, but I can't show you that on the mobile. Welcome, Vilma. So a historic 300-year-old Blauwklippen Manor House and their Jonkerhuis are gutted in Stellenbosch at one of the oldest vineyards in South Africa. The Blauwklippen Manor House, which was built on one of the oldest wine farms in Stellenbosch, was gutted by a blaze on Sunday morning. The fire was fueled by relentlessly strong gale force winds in the Western Cape. According to the Blauwklippen management, the fire broke out at a neighboring farm in the early hours of Sunday morning. It led to devastating destruction of some of the estate's iconic buildings. The fire spread to the manor house and the dam side, from the dam side, and then to Jonkerhuis and eventually to Cathedral. All three buildings have burned to the ground, according to the management team there at the vineyard. They added that the 6 firefighting teams actually responded to this, including those from neighboring farms who were on the scene within minutes to attend to the fire, but the winds were just so strong that it appears there was little opportunity or hope for saving the buildings, and it's really sad to see the damage that was done. It's a sad day for Blauwklippen, as heritage landmarks have been destroyed in a terrible blaze, but the sadness is made easier to bear by the gratitude that no lives were lost, and we acknowledge the swift evacuation heroic efforts of our personnel, Stefan, Charisma, and their teams, who ensured that no one was injured, according to the statement. Yeah, Blauwklippen is one of Stellenbosch's oldest wine farms and dates back to 1682, just 30 years after the Dutch founded a refit and refurbishment station in the mother city of Cape Town. The Jonkerhuis was built in 1720, and that's before the United States even became a country, by 56 years. And the manor house, built in 1789, when the United States Constitution was adopted. The latest addition to those complexes was in 2018, when the cathedral was built there as well. The weather I talked about, the terrific weather in the Western Cape, is wreaking havoc across South Africa. According to an orange level 9 warning for disruptive rain issued by the South African Weather Service, more than 100 millimeters of rainfall was likely today in the Overberg, Drakensberg, Stellenbosch, Breda Valley, and Langeberg municipalities. That's a lot of rain, folks. A lot of rains. Now, in addition to that, as I mentioned, Gauteng authorities in Tshwane have warned residents to be alert for thunderstorms, cold, and wet weather conditions after the South African Weather Service issued a severe thunderstorm warning for Tshwane and other parts of the country. But as I said, that warning apparently does not apply to Johannesburg. The Huguenot Tunnel has been reopened for traffic. Over the weekend, the Chapman's Peak Drive and the Huguenot Tunnel were closed owing to the high winds. As I said, the Huguenot Tunnel has been reopened to all vehicles classes in both directions as of today, according to South African National Roads Agency. This follows temporary closure of the tunnel at the weekend due to strong winds on the viaduct. That's the long bridge-like structure leading to and from the tunnel. At the weekend, the South African Weather Service issued a level 9 warning once again. The province has been hit by strong winds, torrential rains, and lightning and thunderstorms. The firefighting crews have been working their tails off to deal with this. Now, Umkhonto we Sizwe Party is in court today in a bid to challenge the Independent Electoral Commission's decision to bar Jacob Zuma from contesting the 2024 elections. Former President Zuma and his MK party knew he was disqualified from contesting the 2024 elections, and even made representations to the Electoral Commission of South Africa that the commission will argue when it presents its case to the Electoral Court. Now, its advocate, Tembeka Nkoktaitobi, who was said we will present his argument in the Electoral Court in Johannesburg today. The IEC says the MK party and Zuma want to conclude that Zuma has not been found guilty by the Constitutional Court and sentenced to 15 months for contempt of court. Well, obviously he has. What planet are they living on? Now, I have pointed out in the past 2 problems with Jacob Zuma running for president or office. Number 1, he served 2 terms, and I've been vindicated in this position by the Electoral Court and the IEC. We wait for the court to decide, but the IEC has vindicated my position that Jacob Zuma is ineligible to serve as president because he served 2 terms. It doesn't matter if you serve part of a term or a whole term. you have served a term. 1 day or 5 years, that counts against you. And that's what the law says. Now, the other problem with this, of course, is that under South African law, if you've been convicted of a prison sentence of greater than 12 months, no, he can't, scientist. He cannot be in Parliament. Cannot be in Parliament. You cannot run for the elections. So, well, I suppose what you're saying, he's not a member of Parliament. He can be appointed as an at-large minister. That's a position that hasn't really been taken. So we'll see what happens. It brings Zuma back. Says Hardy. Yeah, I suppose your point being there that as a non-member of Parliament, he could be appointed as a member of the cabinet. Yeah, that's true, I suppose. But his conviction beyond 12 months invalidates his serving in political office, elected office, until after 5 years. And I said that. And that's what apparently he's saying. So Zuma harbors presidential ambitions. However, questions on his eligibility arose because two pieces of legislation, Section 47 and 88 of the Constitution, bar him from doing so. Section 88 states that the president's term of office begins on assuming office and ends upon a vacancy occurring or when the person next elected president assumes office. So when Cyril Ramaphosa replaced him during his term, that meant he served a term. Therefore, even though his second term ended prematurely, he cannot serve another term as president. No person may hold office as president for more than 2 terms. Now, Section 47 precludes him from becoming a member of Parliament because he was sentenced to 15 months in jail for contempt of court by the Constitutional Court on the 29th of June, 2021. And I pointed this out previously. It's strange how South Africans, not my audience, but South Africans in the political world don't seem to know this. Why is it? I know your Constitution better than you do. You're members of Congress or Parliament. You should know better. Now, the United Democratic Movement's Bantu Holomisa, a friend of the program, General Bantu Holomisa, whom we've interviewed several times and whom I've met, had lunch, breakfast a few times, a lovely man. He was interviewed by News 24's Question and Answer Election podcast, and he had the following to say about the election. He said that it's the first time the ANC faces a real threat of being dethroned. That's true. His comments come in light of political newcomers like MK and the fact that the ruling party has almost 100 politicians charged with corruption, among a myriad of other problems. Load shedding, we could go on forever, pervasive violent crime, the list is endless. Now, Bantu Holomisa added if the ANC somehow managed to get more than 50% of the votes, it could have time for introspection. The African National Congress is clueless as to how unpopular they are. They will not have any introspection. They should have had introspection an election ago. They should have got the message when they dropped to 53% of the popular vote. But they didn't get the message. In fact, they've become far worse since 2019. So this is what he had to say about Cyril Ramaphosa. Unfortunately, Ramaphosa didn't move with speed. He said it himself that he'd rather die than allow some of his colleagues to be charged. And when he said he was prepared to fall on the sword, people began to say, who is this fellow? Where is he talking about Jacob Zuma? Wasn't clear from the comments in the Propaganda 24 news report. Might have been talking about Zuma, but I believe he's talking about Ramaphosa. Now, Holomisa said that Ramaphosa erred again when he failed to move with speed in removing some of his comrades who were implicated in state capture. He said Ramaphosa also failed to handle the Pala Pala scandal, and it remained an albatross around his neck. But I think the only person that's actually talking about Pala Pala in South Africa is Chris Wyatt. I mean, I don't hear anyone else talking about Pala Pala. In fact, I've nicknamed, of course, not Mr. Showerhead. That's, of course, we know Jacob Zuma. But I've nicknamed Cyril Ramaphosa Minier Pala Pala a long time ago. Now, Bantu Holomisa said that he wished the government would not be run by a lone political party. Well, I'm with you on that one, brother, especially when it's ANC. He suggests the party with the most numbers would have to invite other political parties to the table and seek a consensus. Yes, a la Italy, which is a bad sign for South Africa. He said those seek a consensus on how to complete the convention for a democratic South Africa's outstanding work, CODESA, which was the economic emancipation of the majority. Well, that's actually true, Bantu Holomisa. Now, number one item for discussion will be land and property. Well, I don't know about that. If that's the number one item for discussion, that's a red herring, and I'm not really sure where Bantu Holomisa is going with that. I suppose once my primary is over, if I have time, I'll try to interview him and see what's going on there. Anyway, he said the UDM's ticket on the campaign has been anti-corruption, which now seems to be the popular tagline among other political parties. Everybody's talking about fighting corruption. Yes, the political parties, but South Africans aren't talking about it. By and large, South Africans aren't talking about corruption. He said it's unfortunate the liberators of yesteryear, who were saying that the previous regimes were corrupt, are now the ones who are corrupt. Well, you're 100% on that one there, Bantu Holomisa. Spot on, brother. Spot on. And that's kind of the news for South Africa, folks. I've got some other news to talk about here on this Monday, April 8th, 2024, on the mobile edition here from central Pennsylvania. The Democratic National Committee's blunder in hosting its convention too late may cost Joe Biden an opportunity to appear on the Ohio ballot in the fall general election. So all this illegitimate, unconstitutional, illegal effort to remove Donald Trump from the ballot. Notice how it's all gone. It's all disappeared now. It's just ridiculous, gone. It was a fantasy wet dream of political leftists that just dissipated. Just like all the other stuff. This judgment against Trump for $450 million will be set aside. It's ridiculous. He committed no crime. It's just a question of appeals. They're trying to bleed him dry so he can't become president and take his resources away. And running for office, I've seen something very similar. But anyway, we'll save that for another day. So the Democratic National Convention and the Republican Convention last time held their conventions within 90 days of Ohio's date to certify your candidate for your political party. The last time around, both parties were granted a waiver by the Ohio legislature because I guess that law had been updated. They changed it to 60 days as a consequence of both parties doing it too far in advance. This time, the Republicans are holding their convention in the window when they have to certify, but the Democrats are not holding their convention until after the August 7th date that they must certify their candidate for the Ohio ballot. Therefore, unless they beg for a waiver or the Ohio legislature does something to grant them an extension or, an excuse to do it, Joe Biden will not appear on the fall ballot in the state of Ohio. Now, I think that's highly unlikely, but that's the possibility. And that's what happens when you monkey around with elections. This is the outcome. You get chaos, confusion, and nonsense. Now, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen, who's currently in the People's Communist Republic of China, suggested today that tariffs may be coming for Chinese green energy products, solar photovoltaic cells, electric vehicles, EVs, as well as lithium-ion batteries, all of which are being dumped in the U.S. market and around the world at subsidized rates by the corrupt World Trade Organization violating venal totalitarian state of China. So Yellen says we're not going to exclude the possibility of tariffs against these Chinese products, which of course will drive up the cost of alternative energy installations in America. And given that the corrupt Biden regime is putting in place EPA and Department of Transportation rules, which are illegal, they have no authority to do this, or they've abrogated their authority to agencies rather than controlling in the legislative executive branch, the dictation that we must have 85% or 67% of vehicles by 2031 all must be electric or something like that. The ridiculous nonsense, which is never going to happen. And the fact that states like the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania are dictating to utilities they must reduce their carbon dioxide emissions by 21% by the year 2021. Oops, we've passed that date. Well, those ludicrous, idiotic, anti-energy, economy-crushing, lunacy-driven, eco-wacko, leftist, moronic legislation and policy just simply don't work. And if we put tariffs on the cheap, crappy Chinese products coming in, then people have to pay a god-awful fortune for the German-produced and the American-produced solar photovoltaic panels. Now, I'm not in favor of putting tariffs or not putting tariffs. I'm just telling you the reality and the outcome of what will happen. When Janet Yellen and Crooked Joe decide to do something about Chinese flooding the marketplace with cheap products that are subsidized by the corrupt communist totalitarian state, the consumer will pay the price because of the corrupt system that's been put in place by our bureaucracy and by successive regimes in Washington, D.C. Now, Donald Trump today clarified his position on abortion, and it's the position he should have taken all along. It's a position I've told conservatives and Republicans, this is what you have to do. You must simply refute the lies of the political left and deal with this. They have been misleading voters since the Dobbs decision 2 years ago. And as a consequence, we're able to sneak away with the election results in 2022 because they lied to the American people. Remember the woe is me, oh, abortion is over, oh, back alley abortions, oh my God, No. Roe versus Wade was an abomination in violation of the 10th Amendment of the Constitution in the Bill of Rights, which specifically states that those powers not specifically enumerated in the Constitution or prohibited to the states fall to the states and the sovereign people, respectively. Therefore, the issue of abortion is something the federal government has zero purview over, short of having a constitutional amendment, which does not exist. Therefore, the 50-year history of Roe versus Wade was an insult, an affront to the U.S. Constitution, and to every single one of us who raised our right hand to support and defend the Constitution. We were smacked in the face for 50 years by an activist, corrupt, leftist, venal, political court which violated the Constitution when its sole task is to determine the constitutionality of laws passed by the legislature. So there you go. So the Republicans, now Donald Trump today finally clarified, he made this ridiculous, nonsensical suggestion recently that he would support a 15-month federal ban on abortion. But of course, that's unconstitutional. As I've just described, the federal government has no purview in this field. It's not a national security issue. It's not a taxation issue. It is not anything the federal government has any authority over. That authority, according to the Dobbs decision, which corrected our course, sends that back to the states. Donald Trump today said that the abortion issue is where it should be, left to the states, backing off the suggestion that he might support a 15-week federal ban, which is illegal. Illegal. It's unconstitutional. I can't believe the president does even question such a comment. It's idiotic. Do you know why they don't question it? Because to question it when Donald Trump implied or suggested he was going to do it would be to tell the truth. And the mainstream media doesn't want to tell the truth, because that makes Trump look good. The truth is, Trump doesn't have the authority to ban abortion, just like Joe Biden has no authority to approve abortion. They're the executives of the federal branch of the federal government, which has no authority in this matter whatsoever. So Donald Trump today did the right thing and stated very clearly, unequivocally, that he does not support, that he supports the decision where it's at with the states. Now, ladies and gentlemen, get ready to get your socks blown off. If you're a person of faith, if you're a person who's concerned about the wokeness of the world, get ready to get your socks blown off, because this is an earth-shattering decision that came about from the Vatican today, of all places. That ridiculous Argentine Pope actually did something. Well, not him, but the church, the Catholic Church today laid down a marker in a doctrinal issue in a paper published in which the left is going to absolutely lose its mind. Watch the Catholic Church become as popular as Israel, or become as popular as the U.S. in Tehran. Ladies and gentlemen, today the Vatican declared that gender-affirming surgery and surrogacy to be gross violations of human rights. I say that again. The Vatican today, in a public release, announced that gender-affirming surgery and surrogacy for such action is a crime against humanity. It's a human rights violation, according to the Catholic Church. In a document entitled Infinite Dignity, the 20-page declaration, which took 5 years in the draft form, states that God created men and women biologically different. Sex change, therefore, undermines and threatens the dignity of the person that is received from their moment of conception. A sex change threatens the dignity of the person, the sex change threatens the dignity a person has received at the moment of conception. The Catholic Church has come out unequivocally and condemned gender-affirming surgery and surrogacy for it. Wow. Now, they do distinguish between gender-affirming surgeries, sex changes, and genital abnormalities like hermaphrodites and things like that. This is shocking, to say the least. I mean, it should be shocking institution, but the Catholic Church standing up for what's right, moral, and just. It is about time that somebody, as Mike just said in the comments, put a red line, a line in, not in the sand, a line in the concrete. That line in sand doesn't mean anything. A line in sand is obliterated and quickly crossed or blown away by the wind. The winds of change, the winds of time. However, ladies and gentlemen, a line in concrete is solid. And that's what the Catholic Church has done today. Turning our attention to Gaza, the Israeli Defense Force claims it is withdrawn from Khan Yunis. Now, the IDF's 98th Division has concluded its mission there, withdrawn. They're arresting, recouping, and refitting. Wow. Brazil's Supreme Court loses its collective mind and targets Elon Musk over what they call fake news and obstruction of justice, because Elon Musk announced or indicated that he would not block certain accounts which Brazilian courts ordered him to block because they're political opponents of the corrupt regime in Brazil. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is a textbook case of government overreach, a textbook case of what happens when you abrogate rights, natural rights. Freedom of speech is a natural right. It is a God-given right. We are born with the ability to speak, and we can speak freely. Such called things as hate speech are nonsensical and do not exist. People can say hateful things, but there's no such thing as hate speech. Hate speech is recognizing a special category of people so that when someone objects to them or complains about them, they can be punished extra special. No, we're all created by, we are here by our Creator, endowed with certain inalienable rights. And among those our life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, to steal a line from the founders of this republic, this grand republic that is in jeopardy. It sits at the precipice of total chaos, with a federal government proposing to spend $2 trillion in deficit on top of the $34 trillion they've already racked up. Irresponsible politicians in both political parties, Democrat and Republican, and administrations, who put into place programs that bankrupt this country, such as Social Security, pretending that it is a retirement program when it's not. There isn't a single penny. Let me tell you something, folks. There's not a single penny in the Social Security Trust Fund. Nothing but empty promises and IOUs for future payments. Nothing. It's a Ponzi scheme that was created by a corrupt leftist regime under Franklin Delano Roosevelt to intentionally exclude black Americans from participation when it started. That's right, folks, because black Americans were overwhelmingly employed in agriculture, and they wouldn't qualify for it because it wasn't formal employment. Also overwhelmingly employed in the service industry as nannies and caregivers, as well as wait staff in restaurants, hotels, and bars. And then on top of that, the other ones who were excluded were railroad workers, who got their own very generous compensation, but they were initially kept out of Social Security because the railroad retirement system covered them. So that was a big chunk of formal employment for black Americans when the corrupt King Franklin regime created this abomination called Social Security, which doesn't meet the needs of anyone. Social Security does not give enough benefits to anyone to survive anywhere in this country on that alone. And then in addition to that, the insult to injury, they tax your benefits on something that's already been taxed. It's a morally bankrupt system that will cause the collapse of this country. We've already seen the bastardization, the devaluation of our dollar. Yeah, just like Brazil, just like Greece, just like Italy, we have devalued our currency with quantitative easing. We have undermined our currency for years and destroyed America's economic prosperity and made our currency. Oh, good Lord, could you shout a little bit longer here, buddy? Can you hear that? The guy's 30 feet away. I can hear his conversation. I know I'm loud, but I'm in the car. Anyway, wow. That is what has happened in this country. And Republicans and Democrats are cowards. They're moral cowards. The leadership of both parties, the rank and file, most of it of both parties, are complicit in the destruction of America. And there are very few patriots who stand up and say that. And those who are have people actively work against them as a force to keep the disruptors, people like me, from getting in government. They don't want people like me in Congress. No, they don't. Because I'm a patriot, and the Constitution and the people come first. Not entrenched political interest, not political action committees. No, and I'll tell you what, here in Pennsylvania, there's a proliferation of those political action committees. All of them seek to have influence and tell people how to vote for candidates. And that is just wrong. Unions do the same thing. No, these things shouldn't happen. Voters should be able to make their own decisions without being influenced unduly by outside organizations. But Brazil, this government's out of control because Elon Musk won't censor people's content on his platform in Brazil. They want to investigate him for fake news and misinformation and obstruction of justice. How about obstruction of liberty? How about we try the Brazilian Supreme Court for obstruction of liberty? I think I'd like to do that. Also, I'd like to try Congress here in the United States for obstruction of liberty by continually every year passing additional laws that sap our national resources, bury us in debt, and lead this country to the point of oblivion. It's crazy. It's crazy. Absolute nonsense. Can we have an obstruction of liberty charge against Congress? Can we have an obstruction of liberty charge against all these clowns in Brazil? I don't know. I don't know if that's going to happen. I apologize. Some of you folks are having difficulty buffering. South Africa will have this challenge going on for some time with those cables damaged. A lot of traffic is being rerouted, leads to buffering. By the way, folks, if you're a Stormers supporter like I am, I didn't watch the game because I was busy out knocking on doors trying to get voters to vote for me on Saturday. But I will tell you this, ladies and gentlemen, I didn't see the game, but I did read the reports afterwards, and I'm kind of crestfallen. The Stormers lost at home to La Rochelle, one of the top, if not top team in the world in the club circuit. Of course, they play in the French league. But La Rochelle, two-time defending champion, or two-time champion of the Champions Cup, La Rochelle beat them 22-21. Now, that's especially disheartening for Stormers fans because apparently the Stormers went out to a 16-0 lead. And La Rochelle came back and scored 21 unanswered points. Wow, with 3 tries. Now, unfortunately for the Stormers, not only is that we got insult to injury, but we lost 5 players to injury, including Dion Ferree, the rock star, the glue of this team. Dion Ferree is apparently out for the season. For the season. On top of that, The Stormers still had a chance to win a game after the hooter went off by scoring a late try, and Monty Libbok missed again. And so they lose the game because Monty Libbok couldn't put it through the uprights. Now, the media made excuses saying the wind was high, and that probably was true, but the Stormers never should have been in that position. So that's disheartening. I'm not glad I didn't cover the game, but I'm sure I saved myself a lot of heartache and high blood pressure from not covering that game on Saturday on Rugby Ascendant. Anyway, wow, folks, that's heartbreaking to see what happened to Stormers. So I don't know what happens going forward now, how badly we're hurt. It looks like I think Haichiva Damani was injured. Ben Jason Dixon was injured. Dion Free is out. Salman Morat was re-injured. So it's just not good news for the Stormers. Some of those players, Leo Lanzas was also given a serious injury, but apparently he'll be back at some point. That's just tough. 22-21. Yeah, it must have been a heck of a game. All right, I'm going to read the comments here. So let me go ahead and put down, I'm going to go back here at these glasses. I don't have the normal glasses here, so I apologize if they are bright and you can see a la Mr. Balson, the reflection of the screen. Vilma Rasmus says hello. Eric is here. Ashley Engelbrecht. Clive Streak. Hey, Clive, how you doing, man? And Joking Atheist says the Storms here are crazy. And we've got Arbot is back once again. There's Erica. Arctic is here. Pip Jacobs, hello. Joking Atheist says, hey, beautifuls. Only rain in Climont. Okay, Teresa, that's good to hear. Your spelling, Joking Atheist spelling's messed up. Mike says, hello. On fire, America's flag. Loudy Monday's in from Howick. I always want to say Cape Town, Loudy, but Howick, okay. Cobain's the shacks burn in Western Cape looks like horror. Well, watching these 17th century buildings burn is horrific too. Gus is here. Welcome to you. And then Marilyn Brokershaw. Hey, Marilyn. And Clive Streak. Hey, Marilyn, I may have to move in with you guys. If I'm able to come back to South Africa for the elections, I may have to live at Marilyn's place for a long extended period because I got to save some money, man. This election is killing me here. Now, apparently one of my opponents who's getting support from an elected official is using resources, is apparently running TV ads now in the race. I don't have money for TV ads. Bring Zuma back. F it, let's just go banana Republican, stop pretending. Yako from Bidon's here. Welcome to you. Chris Swanepoel. Joking Atheist yet Zuma and MK are threatening unrest. Yeah, exactly. They should be arrested for domestic terrorism. It rained all day, says Maryland. Well, yes, it was a beautiful day. By the way, folks, here yesterday on Sunday, personal best for electricity generation. My solar panels ran through 45.1 kilowatt hours yesterday. Woo! That's probably better than the entire ESCOM plant. 45 kilowatts are generated yesterday. I had some good mojo there after an entire week of crap solar production. And guess what? Today it's overcast and the production is back down again. April is proving to be a very bad month for solar generation. For me to make any effort off of that sucks. Chris Swanepoel, light rain, high clouds in PA. Will you be able to see eclipse? No. The eclipse is going to be around 3:15 in the afternoon here, and in this current situation, I won't even notice anything. It's going to get slightly grayer. I'm also not in the direct path, and if you're not directly aligned, you don't get the full thing. But even so, I'm in a 90% zone, so 90% of the eclipse should be in effect here. But the problem is with these crappy clouds, and it was sunny this morning. That's what really sucks. Off in the distance, about 40 kilometers to the west, I can see the clouds are broken up, but overhead, it's just nasty and gray. So we've got about 3 hours before the eclipse is supposed to occur, so I doubt I'm going to see it. So I will make plans to go to the 2026 eclipse, maybe go to Kenya or Egypt. I've never been to Egypt, so we'll have to see. The eclipse in 2026 is going to be a pretty epic one. But I've looked at the dates in the next 20 years, and that's one. Another one I think is in 2027. We'll go through Gauteng and or Limpopo, and if that's the case, I'll try to make a plan in 2027 to be in South Africa for the eclipse. That would be exciting. I've been through eclipses before, but these are some pretty big ones. My dog knows our Constitution better than MPs. All right. And what else we got here? Pala is under the rugs. Yep. And we still wait for Zuma's real trial. Exactly, for the arms deal. Yep. Pip Jacobs. Fleshit is here from the 15-minute city. Sue Walsh says, hello. Welcome to you, Sue. And then, did you see the eclipse in Pennsylvania? No, scientist, I haven't seen it because it doesn't occur for another few hours here. And like I said, I may not see anything the way this is going. But I will come outside at that time. And if it looks like things are going well, what I might just do is do a live stream, the eclipse live from central Pennsylvania. And then we'll just chat for a few minutes and nothing will happen. Why not? Maybe that's a little bit of clickbait, okay? So, all right. So, yeah, in fact, I'll schedule it for 3 p.m., okay? Who the F in Pennsylvania legislature is approving this BS? I don't know, Mike. I don't know. Some of the products made in China are not bad. Yes, Pip, you're correct. See, but let me talk about that. I've talked about this before. China is on a learning curve, a production industrial curve that much of East Asia has already gone through. So when I was a kid, made in Japan was not something you wanted on a product. That was an indication it was a poor product. So over time, Japan wound up being, because they stole copyrights, they reverse engineered products, and they produced cars, and they produced televisions and other things, and eventually they got it right. Remember Sony Walkmans? They were the gold standard for a long time in personal music listening for athletes and joggers and everything. Sony was amazing. It was amazing. Still is amazing. And Japanese products became world class over time, but they did so by violating the rules, by cheating, by protectionism of their marketplace to give these people a chance. And once they got up, then they could compete on their own, and they did. Same thing happened in South Korea. South Korea used to produce the worst products. Their industrialization was a joke. In 1953, at the end of the Korean War, North Korea, and even at the beginning of it, was more industrialized and more prosperous and wealthier by twice as much as the South Korean part of the peninsula. But starting in the 1980s, things began to change when the chaebol, the big conglomerates which had state approval, began improving. And now they didn't quite go to the same lengths that the Japanese did with industrial espionage, but there's a little bit of that. But they were able to, by having a protectionist market, become a major shipbuilder, become a major electronics producer, a car producer with Hyundai and others. And South Korea now makes among the best products in the world. Arguably, the best telephones on the planet are ones I'm using right now. Samsung. The best televisions, Samsung, hands down. And that's a consequence of a curve. They start low, and over time, they build up through protectionism and other measures, industrial espionage, copyright theft, trademark infringement, and they eventually become the best. They become the best. Yep. So that happened in Japan, in Korea, South Korea, in Taiwan, in Singapore, and now in Vietnam. Vietnam is now making incredible products as well. The Chinese are on the same path, and they will produce incredible world-class products, which they're capable of doing now. But they also have for decades sent their garbage, their poor manufactured products, which are low cost, to Africa. The Chinese dumped their inferior commercial products in Africa for years. I remember in Liberia in 2008, early 2008, when they came out with their first, it might have been late 2007, they came out with the first ever dual SIM card mobile phones. No one else was producing. The Chinese came first. And the Liberians like, oh, I want that. I can put 2 SIM cards in, because none of the mobile providers were reliable. So they wanted 2 SIM cards so they could switch providers, plus get better deals when they have specials. Well, I warned people about buying that from the Lebanese shop. I said, you shouldn't buy that. Why is that? Because it's Chinese made. Look at it. There's poor quality. You're going to see that you're going to regret that. And invariably, most people within 3 weeks either had the buttons fall off the keypad, or the screen stopped working, or the battery wouldn't recharge, or the phone just wouldn't turn on. Within 3 weeks, a month at most. And I warned them. They spent a lot of money on that crap, and then it just stopped working, folks. It just stopped working. So, that's, China will get there. But for years, they've dumped their inferior commercial products on unsuspecting Africans. Africans would buy it because it's inexpensive, then it would break, and they'd have to buy another, and it'd break, and they'd have to buy another. And I can tell you exactly how this worked. In Liberia, when I rebuilt the Armed Forces of Liberia, we were required to use locally sourced material. Well, nobody in Liberia makes commodes, toilets. Nobody makes urinals in Liberia. Nobody makes the toilet seat covers or the flushing handles or the pipes. So where does it come from? China. Not from the U.S., because the Liberians couldn't afford to buy Kohler world-class commodes with fantastic lifetime guarantees. No one can afford that. So they bought Chinese crap. Well, what are the toilet seats made out of? Plastic, thin plastic at that. So someone with a rather ample bum sits down on it, crack. Everybody sits down, gets their ass pinched because they're sitting on a cracked toilet seat. So in Liberia, I was forced to buy that, plus the fixtures for the sinks and the toilet, or for the shower heads, all inferior quality. So all of that stuff would break repeatedly over the course of a year. And I told the Liberians, and I told the Americans in the State Department who made me do this, that this is counterproductive. We are going to spend 3 and 4 times the amount of money that we would spend if we just bought the quality stuff. Yes, I know the Liberians won't have the money to replace the Kohler stuff, but it will last for years before it breaks. And guess what? They don't have the money to replace the cheap stuff from China. They'll do it once or twice, and then it breaks, they won't replace it because it costs more. So it's better to put in high quality stuff and recognize that that won't be replaced, but at least it'll last a while. But anyway, so we replaced sink fixtures, we replaced, faucet fixtures, we replaced commodes, we replaced every part of the shower, and they broke repeatedly because it was all Chinese crap. And that's the problem. And China's been doing that for years in Africa. Now, there are better products that are sold in Africa too, but inferior crap. The Chinese sold poisoned pet food to America and killed tens of thousands of our dogs and cats. Remember that? I haven't forgotten that. I was in Africa when they did that. They sent poisoned pet food. Why are we buying pet food from China? We have the world's best agriculture right here in the United States. Why aren't we just selling American pet food? That's how stupid the global supply chain has become. Producing it in China when it can be produced right here in America. Very cold in the Cape. Well, that's that wind. Yep. Trump and Biden too old for the office. Nah, scientists. Biggest weakness for Republicans, abortion. Well, not if they attack it head on like I do, Arctic. Not a problem. Still don't trust the Pope. They added child abuse. Yeah, I don't trust the Pope either, but it wasn't him that wrote it. And what else we got here? We got, hey, Debbie Moray, Ulrich Fentis here, Monray Siebritz. What else we got there? Let the people be free. Exactly. Stormers lost. I know, scientists. So how can Elon be charged in Brazil? Will Jojo extradite? Well, he can be charged. You can be charged in any country with a crime. Sharks, yes, Ulrich Fentis, the Sharks are back. They finally got their crap together. Unfortunately, the season for URC is lost, but they've got their crap together in the Challenge Cup, and maybe they could do well and win the Challenge Cup. That would be impressive. Salvage an otherwise terrible season. Menage a Trois says the Stormers game was shocking. Needs someone that knows how to kick conversions. Yeah, Monty Libick is apparently not that guy. To resist the institutional political peddling for uphill, it's praying for an intervention. Well, I want intervention too. Go Bulls, says Teresa. Go back to Super 10 rugby. No thanks. Center for Asian Studies in Africa. Oh, hey, thanks for joining me there, but you retracted your message. Center for Asian Studies in Africa. Why did you guys jump in here? Because I talked about China, but thanks for being here. Clive says, by a hood, Chris. Well, I'm glad to see it. Kasper Labaskakni is here. Marilyn Burgershall is looking forward to seeing you. Me too. Dude, the U.S. dollar will be good till the election. What else we got there? There's Dylan Combrick. Welcome to you. Eclipse. Nothing burger. Well, it will be a something burger in Cleveland. Let's see what else. As predicted, ANC is playing nice till the election. Yep. Sony Walkman, man, you were cool. Oh, it did, Hendo. It did. Walkmans rock. The headset was crap. The headsets would break all the time because they use them for extras. Mr. Palapala should be Mr. Okay, Clive. Got you there. What else? So there's Hendo. All right. Samsung mobile phones are the best. Agreed. Yep. Oh, she's in Gauteng, Gangster's Paradise. Indeed it is. Well, then, yeah, Stephanie, good to see you there. Jaco from Dillon. Who else? Africa's always been a dumping ground for the world. That's probably true. Slippery Pickles here. And Alvin Vestrat is watching from the Free State. Whereabouts, man? Are you in Bloemfontein? Yeah, or elsewhere there. Any chance you're up there in Senegal, in the northeastern part of the Free State? Anyway, good to see you there, Alvin Vestrat. Thank you for being here, and we appreciate it. Be sure to hit the like button, folks. Fun facts, last solar eclipse was in 2017. They don't happen every month as Earth and Moon are out of sync, and they only briefly align. Yep, exactly right. Thank you for that. Oh, I've caught up on the chat. Look at that. I'll be darned. I've caught up on the chat. Yeah, Monty Libick is letting the Stormers down. I'm not going to pick on Monty, though, but a lot of people are not happy. Again, I didn't see the kick. The wind was a factor, but the Stormers up 16-0. How do you let that slip away from you? That's unfortunate to see that happen. Anyway, folks, once again, I'm coming to you live today from central Pennsylvania, as I normally do, but this is the mobile edition. I'm not in my studio. I'm doing consulting at the Army War College, and this is my break, so I'm out here sharing the news with you guys, and this is the best audience we've had, I think, on the mobile since I restarted this last week. You know, in past times I've done the mobile edition, we've had some big audiences. I mean, I think we've had 175, 200 people show up for a live stream of the mobile because my IP address is not based on my residence, which Google knows, and they put the thumb down on that and don't tell people about it. But this one here, obviously, the different IP address through the mobile network, and sometimes you get a bigger crowd. I remember when I did that video, Ronaldo said I should do a short about the water supply for Port Elizabeth. We went out to where the water intake was near the ocean there, and that's when Eugene Johnson was the mayor, and we called her Jick Johnson because she was telling people to use Jick to, treat their water because the water wasn't clean rather than fix the water problem. She was telling people to use bleach. So I did a sarcastic, joke broadcast, a short from the Nelson Mandela Bay water supply about Jick Johnson, and I pretended to open up the valve to pour Jick into the water supply. That video, in less than 30 minutes in South Africa, had 9,000 plus views, and then YouTube shut it off. They turned it off, and no one else got to watch it. And since then, I've got less than 300 views in that video over a year ago. Coming familiar with your mobile links. Your last one had everyone guessing the seatbelt. Weather was better yesterday than it is today, Debbie. It's not so great today. Yeah, I don't know why I had the seatbelt on that day. Sorry, just a force of habit. You get in a car, you put the seatbelt on. That's a good habit to be in, folks. I'll tell you this: seatbelt saved my life, no doubt about it. In 1992, I think it was. Maybe it was early 92. I was on the A3 Autobahn going from Bad Kreuznach to Gelnhausen, past the Frankfurt airport, just past the intersection, and headed east, when there was a big pileup of traffic in front of me in the left-hand lane. Traffic, I think the speed limit was 100 kilometers per hour there, but traffic in front of me was backing up. I could see cars going like that. So I reached down, I hit the hazard lights, the four ways on my dash to turn them on, and then I had a standard transition, so I started downshifting and braking, releasing the brakes, braking, because I was going probably 80 kilometers, and I came to a complete stop, probably about 1 car length and a half behind the car in front of me. That was car number 11 in what became a 13-car pileup. So I was like, whew. And as I was turning my head, I was struck from behind at 80 kilometers per hour or thereabouts, maybe a little bit less than that, by an Iranian diplomat, didn't know that at the time, who hit me, threw me forward, threw my car forward. I hit the car in front of me, but of course my seatbelt engaged, so I was thrown forward like that. Hit the car in front of me, and never even know I hit the car in front of me because, you know, I was still dealing, so almost instantaneous that we traveled that far that quickly because we hit so fast, I was hit so hard. And when I hit the car in front of me, just the proper reaction was I reached down and stomped on the brake with my foot, which kept me from continuing the force in the car as it went forward and left a gap there. So there was a gap probably of about a meter and a half, 2 meters after the thing was over. I was able to get out of the car and open the trunk, even though my back end of my car was hit. I was able to open the trunk, the boot, and get out my four-way, or my triangle, and go out and try to warn track behind me. So in the end, I found out much later that the Iranian diplomat had claimed that I never used my four-ways. He said, and then in the same statement, he contradicted himself. He said that, well, he didn't use his four-ways. Then later on said, well, I couldn't identify the four-ways because he had an American model car, me, and he didn't have the proper turn signals or flashers. So in Europe, you have yellow. We have them here in the States a lot now, but at the time, a lot of American-made cars had the same lights. So your brake lights, your turn indicators, your hazards were all red, and mine were red. But I did warn, he just hit me. The sad part was that my car was totaled. I hadn't even paid it off, so after I paid off the loan, which wasn't that much because I bought it in college new, but it was only, I think I paid $8,000 for it new. But anyway, I paid off the loan, and the money I got from the insurance company, I didn't have enough money to buy anything. So I had to go without a second car for a long time. And I just went ahead and took the money that would have gone for a car payment, saved it up, and then I bought my Volvo with cash in 1994. Yep. Should be the first thing one does is put their seatbelt on. It is. I mean, I get in a car normally, I sit here without even moving, I just put it on. Some states, police will give you a hard time if you're sitting in a car without a seatbelt. I'm not sure the law in every place, but just a good practice. I mean, to have the seatbelt on. Look, folks don't realize or recognize that a motor vehicle is a weapon, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't think it's a weapon, look at what happens on not London Bridge, but on the bridge across the Thames where Big Ben is at. Look what happens in Berlin at Christkindlmarkt in Christmas time when terrorists use motor vehicles to run down pedestrians. It's horrible. So a car is a weapon, and you should treat it as such. When you're driving anything over 20 kilometers per hour, you could kill somebody. And if you doubt me, that's enough to kill somebody. Imagine hitting an 80-year-old who's frail, knocking them to the ground. You could kill them with a car going just 20 kilometers per hour. So you should treat a car with respect, and you should treat the road rules with respect. Now, having said that, I'm sure that everybody speeds from time to time. I mean, sometimes no option because the traffic around you is going so fast. If you don't speed, you're going to get run off the road. But generally speaking, obey the rules of the road and be a safe motorist. And watch out for pedestrians and motorcyclists. Ooh, that's a tough one there. Motorcyclists, always dangerous. They are really taking their lives in their hands. Forgot that you're wearing your seatbelt, then at least you're safe. Yep. Volvo for life, best car on the road. Yeah, Pip, I used to like Volvo, but now it's Chinese. They sold themselves down the river to the Chinese. They are angels working overtime. Oh, Debbie, look, you don't know. I mean, I was nearly killed by terrorists in 1985. I had gone to the PX in Frankfurt. I parked my car in the PX compound. For those in the military that know about it, used to be the main PX was in this weird L-shaped building right up against the fence line, and the parking was in the center. I parked my car outside the pickup point, which is where you go to get your laundry, you turn in your dry cleaning and such. And I had left there because it was the only place to park because the Germans, there's much parking. And I'd gone to the American Forces Network, which then was still called the Armed Forces Network, our television station, which was located about a street or two away and down the street in the civilian area. So I went there to do a recording to become a television broadcaster for the U.S. Army. It was something they offered me in re-enlistment as a chance to be a journalist, and so I said, let me try it. So I did it, and I didn't know that they were actually recording it, and they said, that's fine, everyone gets this, and they sent it in. They told me I wasn't broadcast material, but the point of the story is I came back, I got to the car, I got to the PX, I went in to buy some things, and the line was too long. So I had my things, I went and put them back on the shelf because I needed to get home. I didn't want to sit there because it's about a 75 mile drive home to my Kreuzberg. So I got in my car, which was outside the pickup point, and I left the installation. I drove. I'm going down the road, and I'm listening to the German radio station. You know, it's probably, I don't know, modern talking. You're my heart, you're my soul. And if anyway, no, but I was probably listening to something like that when all of a sudden the Germans broke in and said that there had been an explosion, terrorist explosion at the Frankfurt PX. The Americans are responding. I'm like, what? So when I got home later that evening and I saw the Stars and Stripes newspaper the next day, I could see that the bomb exploded only feet from where my car was parked, and it happened 15 minutes after I left. If I'd stayed in line at the PX and then exited the building and gone to my car, nobody was killed in that blast. There's a very real possibility I could have been injured or killed. So they nearly got me. Also, once in another part of the world, I was nearly taken out by terrorists. So, you know, angels are watching, I suppose. You know, it's like Final Destination, right? The movie series, Final Destination. You know, when your number's up, I suppose your number's up, but you don't push your luck. You live well. Hectic, you are cat of nine. What is that? Cat of nine lives. Yeah. Yeah, I suppose. Also good to habit to remove seatbelt before you arrive home and stop. Oh, well, that's you've got a good point there. Side swipe reversing out of my drive by speeding car. Thank God I have my seatbelt on. Yeah, exactly, Fleshin. Here in South Africa, slow, unworthy vehicles are unable to do the speed limit. Can be more dangerous than speed if there are no cars around. Yep. Yeah, a Volvo and a Bantam. I don't know, Jaguar. Yeah, Jaguar's Chinese too. That's why I'll never buy a Jaguar. So, yep, your job wasn't done. Exactly, Mike. That's how I look at it. So, I mean, listen, folks, I think I've told this before on the program. When we went to the Gulf War Desert Storm, my first combat experience, as an intelligence officer, we didn't have much information. We were given information from the national level, from the Defense Intelligence Agency and others, mostly unclassified information, so I'm not sharing anything classified with you. And we were, you know, we studied Iraq before we went there, and we were told it's the fourth largest military in the world, and they've got these elite Republican Guard divisions. And then where am I? I'm in an armored tank unit with M1 Abrams, and I have the two battalions in my brigade had the most advanced M1 Abrams. There were M1A1 heavies at the time. The 120 millimeter stabilized gun can fire on the move and hit a target with 100% accuracy. Those were the most advanced two battalions in the entire army. So we were going to right in the middle of the fight, and we were. And so when we crossed the line of departure and we went in, you know, we were given the impression that this was going to be the fight of our lives. And I'm not trying to diminish the fight. It was a real war, and people died, and our lives were in jeopardy. I mean, bullets whizzing by and artillery exploding. But the projections in American casualties were actually in the thousands. Fortunately, it was just a small number because of our advanced systems. We had the best military in the world, and our coalition was brilliant. Schwarzkopf ran an incredible coalition and was smart about how he deployed the Syrians, the Egyptians, the Qataris, the Saudis. The way their forces were used was brilliant. Excellent stuff. And then, you know, when the Iraqis foolishly did an incursion into Kuwait at Khafji, allowing the UAE and the Saudis to be the lead force to respond to that, really revealed that they had some mettle and they were willing to fight, and that the Iraqis weren't up to the task. But my point is that, you know, I made my peace that I would never come home from the Gulf War. And so I have to be honest with you folks, you know, we all get frustrated and challenged from time to time and angry about this, that, and the other, or maybe we feel like we've been slighted. But I'll tell you this, honestly, at the end of the day, every day since 1991 has been a blessing. I didn't think I was going to live past 1991. That's not a suicidal thing. That's not. No, I'm just saying that I thought there's a very real possibility that I would die in war. So, you know, it's something you have to consider when you go. You have to be prepped. You have to make your will out. You have to have everything in place in case something happens. So, you know, hey, and that's kind of how it's been ever since then. Now, I want to live to be 150. I mean, that's my plan. Like Sheldon Cooper, I plan to plant my consciousness into an automated device and then live forever after that with software upgrades. But yeah, no, but you know, I'm gonna have to have something more reliable than solar power, otherwise my batteries will drain and I'll be gone. But yeah, but seriously, I do plan to hopefully live for a very long time. And yeah, that's you know, everything's a blessing. It's great to be alive. It's a wonderful, you know, people do not appreciate life. They do not. So in my election, the campaign that I'm running, people have asked me, so what happens if you don't win? I said, well, if I don't win, then I don't win. You're going to be bitter? No, I'm going to be angry about the conduct of a couple candidates, but I'm not going to be bitter. I mean, I'm swimming upstream. I'm a genuine patriot, a genuine American, a person of character and integrity who doesn't lie to people to get what they want and doesn't cheat the rules. And, if that doesn't win the day, then people don't deserve me as a candidate, don't deserve me in the legislature. But if it does win the day, then the people will get the best effort. I will put the best foot forward, and I will serve them. And I will serve their needs to the best of my ability. It was interesting because a candidate said that they were in favor of term limits and agreed not to serve more than 6 terms. Well, that's interesting. That's 12 years. I'm 59 years old. I am not spending 12 years in the state legislature. And I'll tell you that right now. So if somebody wants me to go to Harrisburg to spend 12 years there, expecting me to hang around, then I'm not going to be there that long. I'm not going to be there long. Just ain't going to happen. I mean, I'm not going to go into the Pennsylvania legislature and if I get elected, by the time I take the oath in December, I'll still be 59. Oh, there goes the flag, the reveille. If I get elected, I'll still be 59, but weeks after that, I'll turn 60. And that means that when I leave that office, I'll be 62 or 61, almost 62. But if I do it for 12 years, I'll be 71. Not going to happen, folks. Not going to happen. Nope. Lights just came on. Oh, you got load shedding is easing up there. Cool. And how's the campaigning, Chris? The 23rd is right around the corner. What's your take on Senegal's new elected president? Menage a trois, I need to hold my fire on that. He was in prison. I think it was unjustly. He can still contribute and make it. Yeah, exactly, Debbie. That's what I'm doing. I think I've been doing that here. I like to think I've been making it. I certainly haven't been becoming wealthy with this channel. That's for darn sure. But my persistent efforts to tell the truth, to be honest with people, to expose hypocrisy and fake news by the legacy media and also by wackadoodles on the left and on the right, mostly on the left, but some of the right, has been a mission. And that's what I've been doing with very little compensation. Certainly I've spent a lot more money on this program than I've ever received in compensation, but I'm doing it. Oh, they're talking about the eclipse out here. Yeah, it's going to be underwhelming. Yeah, clouds aren't going anywhere. They better hustle out here in the next couple hours or we will see nothing. Anyway, what I'll do is I'll plan on a broadcast for that. But anyway, yeah, so back to that. So back to the, it's, I hope I've been making a difference, and I feel I've been making a difference. It's fascinating. Tell me, Joe Biden. What did Charles say? Hey, Charles. I have to come turn 60 in South Africa, says Debbie. Erica says, we're blessed to have you around. Well, Erica, I'm blessed that you guys are here. And those who've stuck with me since the very beginning, and those who've come since then, those who didn't know about my program, thank you so much. Those who refound me, rediscovered me after I was sent to the Gulag Archipelago under former CEO Sujun Wood, whatever her name was, for YouTube, before they eased up their censorship. Yeah, no, it's cool to see people come. But by the way, last night I was looking at photographs and I was reminded of something. When I had gone to Colorado, when I was in Colorado a few years ago in 2021, it was 2021 I was there, maybe it was 2022. Anyway, when I went to Colorado and I saw a license plate from Minnesota and the letters were Brew, it reminded me of the Brew, the gentleman who was with us in the very beginning. And he used to admonish me because I said garage. He said, it's not garage, it's garage. So those who remember the Brew, salute to the Brew. You are missed, brother. Yep, not the only one. Dion is also missed. Dion is also missed. Dion was my on-the-ground field reporter in 2021 in the Western Cape at Hermanus, in those areas, actually going out to the polling station. He was really missed. His widow, she was around, but I haven't seen her since. I didn't have any way to contact her. Yep. So, yep. For those who we've lost along the way, prayers and thoughts, and wherever they may find themselves, Dion Gerba, thank you very much. That's right, Dion. We don't forget, do we, Hendo? We don't forget. They were big parts of this program. Those guys were, the Brew is kind of funny. We had fun with him. He's always drinking that piss water, also known as Casa Lager. So I didn't take his comments about saying garage all that seriously because he was drinking piss water. Ken, you've been here a long time too. I don't know, Ken, how dark it'll get. There is a break in the clouds over there on this side now, and so it looks like it's breaking up, but there's not much wind right now. We could probably use some of that Western Cape wind to blow this stuff out of here. Yep, yeah, loyal subscribers. So you gotta. Eric has been here from the beginning. Hendo's been here since the very beginning. And there's other people that have been here. Ken, I think, has been here since early on. Ken took a hiatus for a while, though. I think he's out busy, sorting people out. He's probably like, get off my lawn. I don't know what Ken was up to, but Ken's back, and we're really glad to see Ken back. What's this? Been impressed with South Africa referendum party. Okay. All right, Gus. Well, they're out there. They're out there. Good sense of humor, Lecker Oaks. Yeah, they are sorely missed. And they're not alone. And we've had our share of stuff. Remember the Right Reverend Rawhide? Still kicking, folks, and apparently lives in the UK. I thought he was in South Africa. That guy on the original channel had a stroke, was in hospital, and the same day, within hours of having the stroke in recovery in hospital, he's watching on his mobile my original channel, Chris Wyatt Africa. Oh my goodness. Remember that? Wow. That is and I thought the Right Reverend Rawhide had passed away because we didn't see him after the channel was banned. And then when I was in the UK, suddenly I get a note from the Right Reverend Rawhide showed up in one of our chats. He's still alive. And it was actually just a few kilometers from where I was at. I was unable to link up with him. So hopefully if he's up in the Midlands, if I get up to the Midlands again, I really do need to get back to the UK. But if I get to the Midlands, I really want to meet the Right Reverend Rawhide in person. That is dedication, ladies and gentlemen. And I am incredibly grateful for that sort of support. It's amazing. Look, I've consigned myself to the fact that nobody's going to ever wake up having an epiphany and go, man, that Wyatt dude, he's like Tucker Carlson or better. We need him. We need to fund a program. It's probably never going to happen. I mean, maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, but that's not why I'm doing this, but I'm just at this point, after 4 years of doing this, I don't think anyone's going to catch on to it. So, yeah, real dedication. Oh, yeah, Debbie, it's unbelievable. Well, Erica had a stroke, and then, she was back on here. She barely used the keyboard trying to be a moderator. So she gave it a good college try when she came back. And look, I mean, it's awesome to see people that dedicated, that you have viewers like that. It's really cool. I mean, look, Ronaldo has his stalker, Alpha Wad. Yeah, anyway, but no, it's pretty cool stuff. I mean, some of you have been here from the very beginning. Others have been here, come along later. However you found the channel, it's awesome. However you share it with people, it's really, really awesome. But listen, the eclipse is in about, what time is it now? Let me see. Where are we at now? We at 1 o'clock yet? Yeah, the eclipse is at about 2 hours from right now, folks, here in central Pennsylvania. It's a different time, of course, because the moon is moving across the surface of the earth in 2 hours. And the sun is coming out. I can see the sun. Clouds are breaking up. Maybe that's a good sign. I'm going to go ahead and schedule an eclipse broadcast, and I'll set it for 3 p.m. That will be 9 p.m. South Africa time. Now, I can't promise you an eclipse. It's like, I never promise you a rose garden along with the sunshine. There's got to be a little rain sometime. No, I never promise you a rose garden, and I don't promise you an eclipse, but I do promise you that I'll give it a shot here. Stroke is different from person to person. Yeah. No, it is. Yeah, it is. You're right, Erica. Yeah, but you're still persevering there. It's been like a few years with the Colonel. Well, thank you, Arctic. And look, dude, the Doorvorce you bought me, man, those things were tasty. Look, anybody's going to South Africa, and you can slip some of that stuff back when you come back, man, I could go over for some Doorvorce, which I never ate before until 2022, even though I've been to South Africa 100 times, because I'm like, that looks gross. There's like fat in it, but man, that stuff is tasty. And I could use some real biltong, man. Oh my goodness. Remember how you get discovered? Sun's starting to appear in Western New York. Okay, cool. Gus, are you up there for it, or is that near where you're at? Yeah, so it's going to go over Cleveland. I don't think it's going to hit Buffalo head on. Maybe it will. Erie gets it almost perfectly. Erie, Pennsylvania, very far northwestern corner of the state. Here, we're in a zone is 90% coverage. So if the sun stems out, but the clouds came, it's back now. If these clouds disappear in the next 2 hours, we could be. Now, I'm not going to look at the eclipse, but what I'll do is I'll stand out here and I'll talk, and you'll watch it get dark. You gave us loads of food envy with that door. Oh, ain't no doubt, Debbie. I mean, yeah. Hey, anyway, listen. Here's the other thing I have to say, folks. Dude, I slip 4 packs in my bag every time. Well, Arctic, you keep promising that you're going to come to Harrisburg, but I never see you, man. Never see you. Somebody I know just walked by. They didn't recognize me because I got a beard. I waved. That's funny. Somebody I know from the War College who's retired now too. He looked at me like, I waved. He didn't know who the hell I am. It's Grizzly Adams. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm an extra on the Duck Dynasty. Not anymore because it used to be down here. Anyway, but 4 bags every time. Well, that's awesome, man. I could use some of that. That stuff is good. By the way, that was a Leka day too at Linwood shopping area there. Arctic and I linked up. That was pretty cool. Yep. So you're incognito. Apparently I am. I love Carbonosa. What's that? Carbonosa. Okay, got it. Yeah, so I keep telling people because there was an interesting event that occurred recently. So let me tell the story very quickly. I was in a town on the eastern side of my district, and some of you have heard this already, but let me just point it out in the context of everything. So I was there, and I saw one of my yard signs in someone's yard. And I had not delivered that sign. Someone else gave it to them. So I went into this little restaurant to order something because I was hungry. I'd been walking for 6 hours, and I had to go to the bathroom. So I ordered something to use their bathroom. And they very kindly refused to let me pay because I'm a veteran. It was very nice of them. I said, come on, let me pay. Anyway, politely, I accepted it finally. So as I was going to leave, I said, I'm not abandoning my food. I'll be right back. Someone's got my yard sign. I'm going to go thank him. I went down the street and knocked on the door, and then I wound up meeting the owner and his son-in-law, and he said, oh, no, so-and-so gave me your yard sign and told me about you, and I looked you up. I'm voting for you for sure. My wife is too. I said, well, that's awesome. And then his son-in-law found out he's a registered Republican, so now he's going to vote for me too. That's pretty cool. But I came back, and the lady said, wow, you really are a politician. I said, what do you mean? Well, you went down there and thanked those people. I said, well, that's not a politician. That's just who I am, a genuine person. And you can ask anybody. Fleshin's here. Mike's here. Eric is here. Arctic's here. Debbie's here. And a bunch more people are here. And all of them can attest that I, unselfishly, give my time as best I can each and every time I travel somewhere. Because people want to talk, they want to meet, everybody's got a story, plus people want to hear from me. And look, I get something out of it. It's nice meeting people. It's lovely. Also, I also got some free food. Oh, Dylan, there you go. Dylan also is at every time. And I get some free food in South Africa. So, there's a payoff for me sometimes. Not always, but sometimes. But there's always a payoff. But I always do that. That's what a genuine person does. Not a bullshitter, not a politician, not, a person that just shakes your hand. You got to check to see if you still got all 5 fingers or 4 fingers and thumb when you're done. No, that's real. I'm not tooting my horn. Those of you who know me know that's who I am. I don't blow people off. Sometimes people might feel like they're blown off, but it's not intentional. And if I slight someone, I try to make sure that I make up for that. And I don't normally slight people intentionally. So, yep, that's that's how people should be. I mean, free. Oh, yeah, that's right. Rugby jerseys too. That's right. Yes. By the way, where is CB at? I haven't seen her lately. Is she okay? Ulrich says, we love and appreciate you, Colonel Chris. Well, thank you very much. What's that? Just feed the Colonel. Exactly. Yeah, no, I haven't seen CB, but I haven't been on any rugby broadcast. Anybody heard from CB? Chris Marie? She's a rock star too. She's Chris Marie, Debbie, Erica, Hendo. These guys are all rock stars, in the moderation for a couple of them, but Eric also for setting things up. And then, of course, Debbie, and then, lost track where it's going. But people really go to a lot of trouble to get things set up for me. It's awesome. 100%. It was a pleasure, a very enjoyable morning. Ruined by Hendo Demanding President. That's right. I had to leave Fleshin prematurely because I had to get down to Hendo. But I don't blame Hendo. It's the crappy roads in the UK. I mean, I'm driving on back roads. How about routing me to a motorway, instead of routing me in these back roads? It's too difficult, folks, to do these back roads, UK. Anyway, but and look, we did Fiona, and look what happened when I did Fiona. I wound up getting attacked and called a CIA agent by the wackadoodles down under. Yeah, no, it's they really got pissed off that I interviewed Fiona. My audience asked me to interview Fiona. She's a lovely lady. I got to meet her in person. We had a lovely conversation, and then I got attacked for it. You always value your time, and Tyrion is busy, and you'll fit so much in. Keep up the news too. Yeah, I do. I try, don't I? I do try. Now, some people might say, well, that's just because you're looking for clicks. Dude, I'm not looking for clicks. We're always looking for clicks. But the point, hey, L my 5 pence. That's right. Oh, my 5 pence was one of the first people I met up there in Uppington, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong, my 5 pence. You gimme bear and so smooth, a genuine man. We love you. Oh, thank you, man. Dodgy UK roads, including the M25. Oh, yeah, the M25 car park. That's exactly what it is. My goodness. Woo, I tell you, man, it's hard to imagine so many people are on the road in the UK, but they are. It's hard to find roads unless, like, you go to Snowdonia or somewhere like that, or you go up to Scotland to find roads that aren't just packed with cars all the time. It's crazy. President Biden just announced something. What did he announce? What the hell is he giving away now? Let me see if I can find that. President Biden just announced something. Let me see if I can find it. It was up on the screen. I didn't get my... up to 30... What's this? Oops. Oh, did I get disconnected? I get disconnected. What's this? Careful of... What's this? I'm back. People now... Yeah. Fiona's just come out of the hospital. She's very low blood pressure. Well, that's unfortunate. I'm sorry to hear that. I'm glad that we heard she's okay, though. Yeah, who's that? Sorry, Chris Wyatt. Okay, cool. Yeah, sorry, disconnecting there, folks. I was trying to look at the Twitter thing. I should have fuzzy connections or joyful weather. Yeah, no, but I lost connection there for a moment. Man, let me see. It's not looking promising for this. So you know what? It'll just be a big nothing burger, right? To quote Hillary Clinton. So I'll do it. We'll set it up. I'll come back out here. Yeah, we met in Uppington. That's right. I remember that. Yeah, that's I always remember that. Elma Pence. Yeah, Uppington, and that was kind of cool. I'd never been to the Northern Cape, so that was kind of cool. Yep. Yeah, blame the eclipse. That's right. It's the eclipse, man. It's all because of the eclipse. Yeah, it could be the case. But anyway, crazy weather in the Western Cape and across South Africa, where those winds have whipped up fires, and really sad. Hopefully, no fatalities, but a lot of stuff has been lost, unfortunately. Anyway, folks. Yeah. So. All right, let me wrap it up here, and thank you all for being on for this broadcast. Be sure to hit the like button, and let's push this past 70, because next is Ronaldo's favorite number, 69. I prefer to get past that. But thank you so much. God bless, and I will set up a stream now so the mods can share it for live from the eclipse in central Pennsylvania. And I'm not promising it's going to get dark. I'm just going to tell you we're going to give it a shot here, okay? So, all right, let's see what happens with the eclipse at about 3 p.m., 9 p.m. in South Africa, okay? Y'all take care. Thanks for being here. Be sure to hit that like button. We really do appreciate it. Thank you all so much. Bye-bye.